俺は竜になりたかった。
When Like a Dragon Yakuza was announced, there was widely expressed concern over how it would capture the unique tone of Sega's long-running and beloved game series set in the world of Japanese organized crime. You may have heard, for instance, that there are no karaoke scenes in the 6-episode live-action Prime Video series. This has made some fans think the creators didn't truly understand the appeal of the games. Unfortunately, Like a Dragon also lacks any other moments of levity. It's an overly long, meandering, dreary melodrama that would be ignored if not for the name attached. Admittedly, the games are no strangers to melodrama. Their charm lies in finding the proper amount of camp absurdity to balance out the mob saga histrionics. Protagonist Kazuma Kiryu, played here by Ryoma Takeuchi, is a straight-laced man who constantly finds himself in absurd situations. The self-seriousness of each game's main plot is the foundation that allows the ridiculous events to become even more absurd in contrast. Instead of emulating any of the fun of playing Like a Dragon and its myriad follow-ups, these 6 episodes tell a non-chronological, split timeline story of Kiryu and friends Nishikiyama, Yumi, Miho, and Aiko as they go from living in an orphanage to being embroiled in an illegal combat sports betting league managed by the Yakuza to living through the fallout 10 years later. There's a floaty and dreamlike quality where events often seem to pass by without adequate resolution. Story threads are introduced, then leave without much further thought.
10年前、俺たち兄弟を裏切ったのはお前だろう。
The series is lightly inspired by the events of both Yakuza 0 and Yakuza, which diverges in some major directions, mostly oversimplifying. The original game's plot is reduced down to a rote tale of theft and revenge. We'll save spoiling the specifics, but it's both an unsatisfying setup and conclusion. And in shifting up the events of Yakuza 0 to 1995 from 1988, there's now no commentary on the absurdity of bubble-era Tokyo real estate economics. It's actually strange how much money is flowing around at a time when in real-world Japan, it categorically wasn't. But the world of Yakuza is rendered well in other ways. The detailed set of Kamurocho is delightful. The show is most enjoyable when you take in all the additional details of its world building, especially the cinema showing posters of period-accurate films. The final scenes here throw a ridiculous amount of the show's budget at extras, and it makes the place feel genuinely alive. As Nishikiyama, Kento Kaku has a severe cat-like look in his 2005 scenes, like you can't read his motivations at all, but you know not to cross him. In the 1995 scenes, he plays an unrecognizable version of the same character in a way that expresses some real range, even if what he's getting up to isn't at all interesting. Munetaka Aoki is cast brilliantly as Majima, though the show has no idea what to do with him. He's sparingly used in early episodes and disappointingly underfeatured in the finale. For fans of the series, he hits the all-important Kiryu-chan at least once, but it oddly happens while he's off-screen. Just another sign that Majima isn't as big of a component of Like a Dragon as he should be. All of the positives of this adaptation can't add up to something we'd recommend watching. Like a Dragon Yakuza feels very second screen. You'd never miss the specifics by looking away, but there's never enough actually going on to capture your attention. If you're unable to understand fluent Japanese and you're locked into reading the subtitles instead of checking your phone, you're likely to find this very boring. お前一人時間が止まってんじゃないのか、カズマ。 Without the Like a Dragon name attached, this series would get very little attention. There's so little that's very Yakuza in tone, and it takes so little inspiration from the games that there's hardly much you'll recognize from them. There's great character work from some of the cast, particularly Kento Kaku as Nishikiyama, but sadly, nothing very interesting for them to do. For more TV reviews, check out what we thought of Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft and The Penguin. And for everything else, stick with IGN.